The Fury of Firestorm, The Nuclear Men, number 5, written by Ethan Van Sciver and Gail Simone, art by Yildiray Sinar. We left off last issue with Jason dropping off his girlfriend in the hospital and then being stopped by the Zither people, aka the bad guys, and Ronnie already being totally teamed up with them and saying how cool they are. This issue picks up in Siberia. We get a large man talking to a smaller man who's apparently the inspector and saying like, hey, so we know you've been doing good work here with all this nuclear whatever stuff, but we're just going to stick to normal nukes instead of this human program you got going on, so your funding is cut. And he's like, okay, look, I understand what you're saying, but how about you take a look at this real quick? And they have a captive person who got the Firestorm protocols and like was a rogue one, and apparently, you know, he was just going to cause a little bit of slight terrorism throughout. And so as soon as they unmask him, he turns into a firestorm. And immediately the larger Russian man turns into Posar. And he's like, now, imagine, Inspector, that one of these guys is at our doorstep. Your nukes are not going to do anything except make him stronger and angrier. But me, Posar, I can do this. And he like does a little energy ball thing, grabs the guy, and just destroys him into nothing but dust. And he's like, so, it's not about if you're going to give us money, Inspector. It's about how much money you're going to give us. So, yeah, they're going to keep researching Firestorm, I guess. Anyway, we pick back up. We're at Zither Tech compound in the Nevada desert. Jason wakes up from a nightmare of Fury. He's telling him like, oh, you don't even know the crap you're in right now, Jason. Wake up. And when he wakes up, he realizes where he is. We see that Madam Zither, Director Zither, is staring at him through a bunch of, surveillance cameras. And she's like, now, I want him to have a good time. So let's please be kind to him in order to persuade him to us. So they send like some flowers and say that, please get dressed. Breakfast will be ready soon. And immediately Jason's like, okay, well, they're clearly up to no good. So, and as he exits his room, he sees there's a bunch of security guards with like shotguns who are like, we're here to bring you down to breakfast. And Jason immediately was like, well, guess we know what that means. And he turns on Firestorm, starts blasting through them. Not actually through them. They're obviously alive. He turns their guns into brooms, and he's like, psh, my dad taught me to be better than this. And then, like, on cue, his dad shows up in a security guard outfit, and he's like, son, calm down. Your head's on fire. And we cut to a little bit later. They're just walking down this planned community outside of the Zither Corporation. It's like, yeah, this all belongs to the Zither thing. They got schools, they got parks, they got everything here. This is our home. And Jason's like, are you kidding me? My dad I look to you as moral standing, dude. And you were bought by the Zither Corporation. It's like, this is good. This is good for us. They are not bad people. The group of people who attacked you earlier, turns out they were rogue agents. That's what the Zither Corporation says, and I believe them wholeheartedly. And Jason's like, is that my car? And he's like, yeah, it's your car. And he's like, oh, God, I got a new car. So then they're just sitting in the kitchen talking, and Director Zither shows up, and she's just laying on all the sweet talk. Like, Jason, look, if every country had just one of you, we wouldn't need armies at all. All those people could just stay home and not put their lives at risk. You are something special, and we're just hoping that we can get that a bit more explored. And Ronnie shows up, and he's like, hey, Jason, you wanna toss the old pigskin around? And Jason's like, what is going on with people, Ronnie? They step outside. What is going on? And Ronnie's like, yeah, look, I know it's weird, but like this is actually a pretty good deal. Like we got full ride scholarships wherever we want to go, apparently, and everything here is all paid for. And all we got to do is just do the occasional like PR stunt. Like it's not actually going to be villainy. We just got to go and like fight the occasional fake bad guy for the sake of making the Firestorm program look good. And Jason's like, I don't know, man. They shot our friends. Like, people are dead because of their actions. Like, no. Remember, that wasn't them. They said so. And it's like, okay, yeah, sure. But then Ronnie just straight up was like, look, you're the smart one. I'm not. Whatever you want to do, I'll go with it. And he's like, oh, all right. Well, I guess we could, I guess, play along for a while and at least see what they want us to do. And he's like, cool. So they go fly off to do one of those PR stunts. It's at a concert. And there's a single panel here of like two characters that get a lot of focus, and I feel like I should know who they are, but I don't. So regardless, we see at the concert they're already there's some terrorists up on stage in what looks to be another Firestorm, pretty much identical to that one that Posar fought in the beginning. And they show up and they're like, all right, well, let's just take him down. Ronnie says he'll take the Firestorm and Jason will take all the terrorist guns. So Ronnie tackles the Firestorm. They fly up into the air. Jason immediately just turns the guns into balloons. And he's like, all right, well, that was easy. But Ronnie's having a harder time. He's not able to keep his own against the Firestorm he's fighting. And apparently he's spouting off a lot of actual terrorist stuff, like the same stuff that the first Firestorm in the first scene was of, you have been against our country for long enough and we're here for some light terrorism. So he blasts down Ronnie out of the sky and the crowd's all evacuating at this point, obviously. And as the Firestorm stands next to Ronnie and Jason, the terrorist one, he's like, well, there's no better time than now. And he literally self-destructs. He explodes and he goes for Karak and he suicide bombs. And, the power of a firestorm exploding leaves a giant crater with many deaths in this concert. And he's like, oh, this wasn't a PR stunt. And that's where we leave off on the issue. I like it. I think it's a solid enough thing. It's a big swerve from how we were moving before, where I thought it was just going to be Ronnie and Jason on the run from everybody. Like, now they've got an alliance, an uneasy alliance, but an alliance nonetheless with the Ziggler guys, and who knows if they can be trusted. And they just had a massive loss in the name of Firestorm. So it's actual character development going on, and I'm liking where it's moving. Overall, I'm going to give this one a 7. My only real critique is that it feels like everyone bought into this, except for Jason, obviously. But even then, by the end, it feels like everyone bought into this just a bit too quickly. This was overnight. He literally slept for one night, and everyone's like, yeah, this is great. Let's go ahead with them. So I wish there'd just be a bit more skepticism. Maybe there will be later. Maybe that'll be the reveal. But for right now, it's played straight, and I'm not sure how much I like that. So yeah, 7 for this. Definitely looking forward to seeing how it's going to wrap up.